Hi, Anna, can you hear us?
Loud and clear.
All right. I want to make sure things are working. Yep, the speaker's working.
Sounds good.
Yes.
I'm Steve McNair.
I see.
Good to see you.
And I've seen you around here a couple times.
Yes, sir.
I'm currently actually the president, but.
Oh, wow. Okay. Mr. President.
Then we can't make it. The VP, PK's out in California. Tom's in South Dakota or something.
Oh, well, probably, huh?
Yeah, I think he's running. And James has got a backlog of work at the computer store, so
Wow.
he won't make it tonight, so
Brief meeting, little and brief, huh?
yeah. So I printed off way too many ballots. I'll give you a ballot.
All right.
No, you want to write in yourself as a board member?
Choose 7. How many we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Well, that's why we can do write-ins, or, you know, if there are people that show up, I'll take nominations. That's how I got stuck on this. I got nominated from the floor the
Yeah.
night of the elections and got elected, and
Oh.
then the board votes on positions, and
And within, if you're a board member, then they vote on what?
yeah,
position.
what position
Okay.
you have within the board,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
the board sets up its own. I was taking such good notes, they made me president. I was like, wait. I joined to find out how all this stuff works.
Yeah, yeah.
Did I get a keyboard? Nope. Hey, that works.
So what do you do, Tom, for a living?
For a living,
Yes, sir.
I'm a data analyst at the farm.
Oh, you work at the farm, huh? Yeah. I have a lot of my friends are farmers or former farmers, former farmers, yeah. Farmers and state farmers and former state farmers.
Yeah, I made that mistake when I first got down here, working for State Farm, and
Yeah, yeah,
somebody's like, hey, what do you do? I said, I'm a farmer.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah, how many acres? No, wrong farm.
Yeah, right.
So, learned quickly that there's a lot of farmers around here,
Yeah.
and, you know,
So,
and farmers at State Farm.
so you work with Tom
Um,
or in that area or not really?
no, he's more in the security area.
Okay,
I'm in property casualty.
okay. Yeah. Okay,
Work, do a lot of data stuff.
data stuff.
Yeah.
How
data
long have you
stuff.
been with State Farm?
Oh, 36 years.
Wow. And you weren't originally in Bloomington, you moved here?
Yeah, I moved down here in 86.
From,
Riverside, it's a Chicago suburb.
oh, okay. I think I've heard it on the radio, but I don't know where it is even.
The headquarters for Brookfield Zoo is actually in Riverside. So the
Okay,
Brookfield Zoo is Brookfield part of Riverside,
okay.
but Brookfield gets all the
The notoriety.
notoriety, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's called Brookfield Zoo.
Yeah, okay, wow. So I've
Yeah,
probably been in
offices.
Riverside and not even realized it. Yeah.
Could be if you've been to the zoo.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Hey,
In the right place, right?
yeah. I think we're gonna have a landslide election, you know, with 2
Yeah.
voters.
yeah.
It's like, I don't know if it's gonna be valid or
So
not.
can they vote online?
I don't know. We've never done an election online. But I know Valerie's is on the ballot.
So do you have a campaign speech or anything?
Yeah, you got a campaign speech?
Oh, man. Vote for me. I'll get the job done. That's it. That's all I
All
can
right.
say.
Great, thank you. Give people a couple more minutes. Could be a light, short meeting tonight.
I'm good with that.
We've only got 3 3 in person at the moment. You were responsible for snacks tonight. Where are they?
Yeah, when I pulled up, usually there's a bunch of cars out.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Did I, something wrong here, or did
Pulled in and got out my phone and checked on the email.
I? I did too. I did.
It's like, okay,
It's it.
today is the 29th.
I just got out, made sure the door was open. Erin was in here getting that all set up, but she didn't have the Zoom and stuff. So we got that set up and she went back to her office. So, wow. Six all-time low meeting, I think. I was really hoping Tom or PK would zoom in.
Probably there's an internet connection where Tom's hunting, if he's hunting out.
Yeah, it could be, yeah.
What, is that where he is?
Yeah, that's what Tom said.
Up in Montana, this is back in the 80s, but went in, was going into this bar and there's a pickup truck sitting outside with 2 sets of legs, deer legs hanging out the back. And we get inside and find out that decoys are legal in Montana.
Oh, they are. Wow,
And-
deer decoys.
Yeah,
Wow.
and the guy whose pickup truck it was actually the local ranger, or
Okay,
whatever, conservation officer,
Yeah,
whatever
yeah.
his job was.
yeah.
And he hunted just like everybody
Everybody
else.
else, yeah.
So he was giving us the lowdown on it and, you know, of course, they can use high power rifles.
Yeah, right.
Stuff like that, but. You know, like we
Wow.
go in and, you know, oh, who's got the 2 deer outside? You know, he starts laughing and telling us, oh, those are my decoys. You're what?
Where were you at?
Montana.
Montana. Well. Might as well get started, I guess. See, welcome to our November meeting. All six of you. Let's see, we were gonna have Steve McNair give a presentation on. All I know is it's Texas.
Yeah, you'll find out.
Oh, okay, surprise presentation on something that happened in Texas. Then we'll take nominations for any board members and hold an election. And then we were supposed to have a recap of the year, which I thought PK was gonna give, but I guess maybe I'm gonna wing it. And then plans for next year, like what should we discuss? What type of sessions should we have? I'm not sure we're gonna get a lot of input on that, but that was what tonight was supposed to be. With that, I think I'll turn it over to Steve. I think what we need to do is hit share here first. And any questions from online? Nope. Izzy, you still with us?
Yep, I'm here.
All right. Share screen.
Probably the one to your right, because that
This
was
one?
a big one.
This one?
Yeah.
All right. Can you guys see the PowerPoint online? Yep. All right.
There we go, full frame.
And
Too big.
there you go.
All right. Okay, I just got back from Texas I have a daughter and son-in-law down there. And they have a couple beehives. And unlike us up here in the north, they've had it 7 years probably. And they have never treated, never done anything to it, and they're both thriving. And so I'm trying to figure out like what's going on here, okay? And the last time I was down there in June, and helped them pull some frames of honey, but I didn't cut it, set it aside, and then we went down there over Thanksgiving and decided to cut them and spin it. So when you're in Texas, you think about oil. So I brought back some oil,
Yeah.
but that's what it looks like. But actually, what it is honeydew honey or forest honey. And it was something that I'd never heard of before. And the thing that I had done, when I cut the honey, it had the consistency and the texture of molasses. And darkest honey I'd ever seen. It's darker than buckwheat honey, or buckwheat honey is a little bit lighter than this, but it's very, very dark. And I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Also, it's very thick. Okay. So I got online. They have a ranch. It's about about an hour northwest of Austin. So they're in central Texas. They have a 200-acre ranch, and it's mostly cedar, oak, maybe a few other kinds of plants, but it's pretty desolate out there. Not many flowers whatsoever. And so I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. I have this honey. They have this honey that is so dark that it looks like oil. And so it got me to doing some research while I was down there. And so there is a honey that's called honeydew. And maybe you've seen it. I don't know that I've seen it around here. On the leaves, there's like little droplets of
plants, yeah.
yeah, of sugar. Well, down there, honeydew is a honey that's made when bees harvest honeydew from the leaves, stems, and barks of trees and other sap-producing plants. So I'm thinking, okay, their hives are essentially in an oak grove on their ranch, and so I got to thinking, well, is there oak honey? Is there, what is the deal here? And so I started doing research, and I came across this, and being a Central Illinois beekeeper, I had no clue about this kind of honey, but it was very, very interesting how the bees use it and how they make it. So aphids get on the leaves or on the stems of oak trees and some other trees that are, forest trees. And what they do is they have a pointy mouth set up into the leaf, and the sap is running, and so it's almost like blows right through them. And if you see this one photo in the lower right, that's the sugar water from the sap coming through an aphid. And so this is why they call it honey. Whoops, sorry. This is why they call it honeydew, because you look on that leaf in the upper left, and that's the syrup or the sugar. And that's not really even sap. It's like a sugar water that the aphid takes it into its body. It takes some amino acids out of it, but the lion's share, 90+% of that comes out as sugar. And so what's interesting is, in doing research too, these aphids, the ants eat it too. And ants also, they have like a relationship with the aphids in that they'll keep predators like ladybugs and some other things that will eat aphids
away from the aphids. So it's a win-win. The ants get the sugar water or the sugar, and the aphids get their life, you know. So these are a variety of different photos that I came across that show these aphids. So technically, the substance can't be called honeydew unless it's been run through a bee or a bug's digestive tract. And sap that just oozes from a plant is called sap. So honeydew goes through the digestive tract of the insect. The aphids eat the sap, not so much for the sugars, but for the amino acids that it contains. This means that most of the sugars are expelled, and you saw that photo a little earlier, by the aphid as honeydew, a substance that bee loves, and ants too. You saw that photo with the ants up there. Another way that honey can be made is through galls. And galls are a parasitic wasp, and I'll show you a picture of that here in a minute. And there are several varieties. They lay its eggs in the leaves or twigs of a tree, and in response to that, the tree grows this tissue around the eggs and encloses them, encloses a developing larva in there. The larva of that feeds and grows, and then it emerges as an adult. But the larva is protected within the gall, but even more protection, they turn the plant starches it's feeding into sugars that exude. Like on this gall here, it'll have like a sugar kind of coating on the outside. This photo in the lower left is actually a photo that my daughter sent. Hey Ken, that my daughter sent of some bees working gall on a tree there. The one in the upper left is a gall wasp. And this photo here with the finger, you can see the little deal on the end, that's a gall wasp, to give you an idea of the size that they are. And so they lay their eggs in leaves or on the branches or whatever, and then they create these different kinds of galls, the plant does, to protect it. And the outside coating on that a lot of times is a sugary substance. So you can see these bees are getting after it in this photo. So they take this back, and this is their nectar. It's not like the nectar like the bees are that are around here where they have pollen in it and so forth. It's a whole different kind of nectar, and therefore called honeydew. Let's see here. Whoop. Also, acorns on an oak tree. There's a character, and it truly looks like a cartoon character of an acorn weevil. And an acorn weevil burrows into the acorn, and what it does is it causes a hole in the acorn, and it burrows in and puts an egg inside the acorn, releases sweet fluid which the bees collect from the acorn and convert it to honey. So there's the little character there, something from a cartoon. This is what it does. There's the larva. Well, in that hole, out of that hole comes a sugary substance too. And the bees get on that as well. So hence the name also forest honey. Has a very unique taste. And in fact, I brought toothpicks and let you guys dip in here and give it a shot.
So before you got too far into this, I was, making guesses in my head why that was like that. And I was thinking, well, you said you pulled it, but let it sit for a year. So I didn't know if it had, thickened up as part of the sitting around.
Right.
And two, being down in Texas, you can have more Africanized bees than we have up here.
So that's
Were
why
bees
they.
hot down there, or?
Well, no, I mean, I think that part of the reason that their hives have done so well without them even doing anything. It's like when you talk to old time beekeepers from years ago and they say, I would just put my hive out there in the waterway or on the fence line, and I go collect honey every year before mites and all that stuff, you know. And so now, to your point, I think probably they're Africanized. They're nasty. You know, I've worked them a little bit, and they're not very welcoming. And I think because of that fact, that's why they've survived, because they've, you know, Africanized bees tend to swarm and, you know, break the brood cycle and do all that sort of stuff. And so it's crazy how 7 years, virtually, I haven't touched the hive other than pulling honey off it.
Wow.
So
Well, there's a trade-off there, right? You
That
don't
would
work
be-
these much, but they're nasty.
yeah, well, right. Now one of the things that this honey is high in is oligosaccharides. And essentially what that is that it's the kind of stuff that feeds our probiotics that we got in our gut already. It feeds that. And so there's some medicinal value to this type of honey as well. Since honeydew is different from nectar, also chemically different than blossom honey. It's darker, higher mineral content, has a stronger taste, and you'll see that a little bit. And a stronger taste of particular nutritional and therapeutic benefits. In times of drought, and down there in Texas, right now, except when we were there, figures, we got rained on a fair amount down there. We were down there the past 3 weeks. Where floral nectar sources are scarce, and on their ranch, there's virtually no flowers. It's grasses and trees. And like I said earlier, their hives were set in an oak grove that they had on their ranch. And even now, we were down there this past week, the bees were in some of the trees, you could hear them buzzing. There's no flowers, there's no, I mean, they're not flowering now, we're going into winter. So the bees will forage upon these and make beautiful honey from it. This is the honey can, that's how dark it is.
Yeah.
It's like buckwheat. It isn't a complete source of food, because there's no pollen. And so that's partially why honey is rare. It's dark, thick, not as sweet as floral nectar honey, but very rich.
So when you harvested that, was it in all of the frames, or is it just on some of the frames?
No, it was the whole frame. So I
Okay.
just cut it. Both sides had it on it. It wasn't built out like some of our frames get, you know, where if you do 9 frames in a 10 frame, just so that they build it out a little bit.
Mhm.
But with the hot knife, it was above enough that I didn't have to do much going a little bit deeper, you know.
Okay.
It's not considered a good winter feed for bees, which I thought was interesting. Because it can be high in ash, they say, and which is the primary cause of bee dysentery. And so some of the research I did said beekeepers down there sometimes will supplement their hives with like pollen patties or sugar water periodically and stuff like that. But you know, more than anything, and I went down there not thinking I was going to learn about honeydew honey, but when we cut it and saw it and have seen how the bees are working the oak trees down there, I started doing a little research, and that's why I thought, well, I'll just share it with our friends here at CIBA. Then finally, this honey contains a higher antioxidant, antibacterial activity level, mineral content, and greater nutritional and therapeutic benefits than most regular flower honey. Now, you get online and every honey is better than the other honey, you know, I mean, it's all like you ask for, you know, it's that deal where you ask 10 beekeepers, you get 15 opinions and that sort of thing. But it is something for me, and why I wanted to share it with y'all was I never even heard of it, let alone see it. And work with it a little bit, and I did see the bees working the oak trees other times when I've been down there, but I didn't really think about it, you know? Now, sometimes if there are flowers around too, there'll be a mix of floral and honeydew, honey in the hive. But in their case, there's virtually no flowers within. I mean, their ranch is over 100 or over 200 acres, and a lot of cedar. I looked into that too to see if they work cedar or anything like that, and not as much as some of the other trees.
So that cedar has this pollen dust type stuff that
Yeah.
it's all over everything down there.
Oh, I know that yellow stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So does the
Um,
bees use that at all?
Not that I'm aware of, but I'm not an expert. I'm the guy that stumbled upon this down there and started doing some research and thought it'd be kind of fun to share it with you
Well, that
all.
was gonna be my question, because you said that there's not a lot of pollen
Right.
associated with it, but I know in the cedar,
Yeah,
that a lot of that.
but I don't know, if they pull that cedar pollen or not. That might be something that, someone else, the higher pay grade knows than I do. But anyhow, the other thing about this honeydew honey that intrigued me is it sort of perked my interest, and so it's something that I want to do some further research into and learn more about. Not that we have honeydew honey up here necessarily. I know that in Europe, one of the things I read in Europe and like in Greece and some of those places where maybe it's a little more arid and there's trees, certain trees, I don't know if they work olive trees but it's popular over in Europe, the honeydew honey. And then even online, you can buy it and it looks, I mean, it's virtually almost black like this is. And the thing that's crazy is they sell it online. The one place is selling for $70 a pound. So
That's my next question, is how much of that do they get and what do they sell it for?
yeah, I don't think, like, if my sense is in looking at my daughter's hives down there, they don't get the volume that we get up here because we got a lot more flowers and that sort of thing, at least compared to where they are in the hill country of Texas, where they're, at least where their place is, there's not a lot of flowers that the bees can work. So anyway, I brought toothpicks and thought we all could try it and give it a shot. It has a woody taste to it, a little bit. I mean, I don't want to bias you, so you'll have to try it and tell me what you taste in it. But anyway, and that's it. So maybe I've piqued our interest enough that you can do some research on your own if you're interested, and then shoot holes in everything I just said. But it was pretty consistent. I even got on Google Scholar and did a little reading about the honeydew honey, and so it's the real deal. But anyhow.
So I have a quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
So it seems like it helps with the honeybee health, in terms of preventing, the only word that came to mind was dysentery, but in terms of preventing any digestive issues. But what about keeping like mites down, and what about any other parasites? Or did it, from your research, did it point one way or another as to why that might be?
No,
Okay.
nothing that I saw. It can give them the squirts, or it can give them get them constipated too. Sometimes they have it all. But in terms of medicinal value, I don't know. I mean, to the bees, because like I say, these hives have been doing 7 years, without putting my hands on it, other than pulling a little honey every now and then. So I honestly don't know. That's a great question. It would be something that would be interesting to I sort of attributed the longevity and not the apparent mite problems to the fact that they were probably Africanized and they do that brood break a lot.
Hmm.
But I don't have any data to support that necessarily, you know.
Thank you.
That's a great question. Thank you. So,
Okay, Steve, I've got a question. Did you see problems with hive beetles down there?
no,
Okay, because my thought process is because the hive beetles, I believe, are from Africa. And so that, they're the vicious bees are able to handle them where our gentle girls don't.
well, no, I didn't see any evidence of hive beetles, to be honest with you. And, but yeah, it was sort of eye-opening for me to cut this and see how dark and thick and it was, and realize that there's not many flowers around. So why is it like this? And all I could think of was the hives were essentially in an oak grove, and they're thriving, or they were thriving, and so that's what prompted me to kind of look into this whole oak honey. And it turns out that they call it honeydew honey or forest honey, and so that's my story. I'm sticking to it, you know. But anyway, so I wish I could hand a toothpick to you all too and let you try it. Maybe I'll bring it back another meeting, and if people are interested in trying it, and if I prompted you to do a little research on it, I'd be open to learning whatever you learn as well about it. But it does. I mean, it's really dark, really dark. So, but
All right, well, thanks a lot, Steve.
thank you.
Thank you.
For those online, you just did a nice little courtesy.
Let's see, we have a chat here. What we got in there? Andy is wondering if you happen to know where they purchased their packages.
They got them in Texas. I'm not sure where, to be honest with you. And I think that, yeah, I mean, I think they got the packages, well, essentially like 6 or 7 years ago, and they haven't bought any more, and they're still going. So it's crazy. You know, it makes me a bit jealous, really, you know.
And follow up to that is, does Weaver bees ring a bell?
Weaver bees?
Yeah.
I haven't come across that in
your research?
right. But my research is ongoing, Tom, so.
All right, so you guys are gonna have to observe us then tasting this honey. We'll try to give you feedback on what it tastes like to us. All right, off the bat, it's really thick. Sticks the toothpick pretty well.
And what does it smell like?
My smeller's not very good.
It doesn't smell like the typical, I don't have a vocabulary for that smell, but it doesn't smell like regular honey.
Yeah, I know. It's like
I taste a lot of toothpick on here though. So it started out woody, but then I think I got toothpick taste too.
It's different. And you know, for me, I tasted the woody and then a little bit of fruit. Like I've started to like have a spoonful in the morning, you know, and interesting, isn't it? The other thing they said about this honeydew honey is that it doesn't crystallize nearly as fast as floral honey.
Okay. Well, that's sort of what I was trying to get to, is it's very thick, but it doesn't seem like it's crystal.
So this, you know, people mistakenly say that, you know, honey is bee vomit, but this truly is the honeydew itself is bug excrement. But it goes through them apparently so quickly that it's pretty much just sugar water when it comes through. So,
Well, so does that really expensive coffee that comes out of the.
oh, that monkey.
Cats or
Yeah, the
monkey,
monkey,
yeah.
yeah, whatever, yeah.
The monkey took the coffee.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Steve. Yeah, that was pretty interesting. All right. We don't have a whole lot of people here, but are there any nominations for board members?
I nominate Valerie.
Okay. All right, haven't done the Zoom.
Thank you, PK.
I have faith in you, girl.
Is that probably all backwards? It is all backwards.
Put it up to your mirror.
No, it's not.
No, it's not?
Nope, it's right.
No, it's right.
Oh, okay, it looks backwards to us, but
On our side.
So
Okay,
that's-
Valerie, Izzy, Cindy, me, Tom, Ken, James.
yep. And
Yes.
then write in, if anybody wants to do a write in. So that's the ballot. Vote for 7, and we currently have 7 candidates. So the only thing would be is if somebody wanted to write themselves in or write somebody else in. We'll pass out the official ballots here, and you guys can vote.
Do you have any campaign, to say, Ken, prior to voting?
I don't know about how many of these they made. I was really anticipating lots of people here for this election.
You know, might be an idea just to send email out to members. I don't know if that would be.
I can do that if, Tom, if you send it to me. Sorry, kids, I'm in sunny well, it's dark now in California. I'm in the hills of California. So,
I can send you the ballot I made if you want to
Yes.
send it out to people.
I can,
Um,
I would be, I could, you never know.
I mean, as far as I know, in the past, it's always you had to be present to vote.
Correct. I think there was the year that pandemic
I don't
was, like,
remember.
everything was Zoom.
Sounded like, it's like Georgia here, we gotta run off.
Yeah, runoff. We don't have at least 50%.
Yeah.
Well, it won't be a secret ballot. I will tell you, I vote for all 7.
All right. Valerie or Andy, do you want to do a public vote? Do you have or
We'll put our heads down if you want to put your arm, like,
I vote, I put it there in the chat. I vote for all 7 as well.
all right.
We are real formal in this group.
I
All
know. I like it. I really like it. I really like it.
Okay, let me see. I'm gonna have to go in the back room and tally all of these, but it looks like we have a unanimous selection for the current slate of candidates. So
Woohoo!
congratulations.
From Izzy, he might be.
Oh, Izzy, we didn't hear from Izzy.
He might be.
Oh. Izzy and Andy. Yep.
No, Andy commented in the chat.
Oh, sorry.
Izzy, you still with us?
Yeah, sorry guys, I was eating the dinner. Yeah, I'll vote for all 7 of the people there.
All right.
Team player, Izzy.
Well, I can, announce that the slate of candidates have officially been elected. Unless PK wants to overrule that and send it out to all the members.
I second that opinion.
All right.
there you go.
All right, the next thing was sort of a recap of the year. I was hoping PK could lead us through some of that.
I can lead you through most of, I'll throw some stuff out there. Sugar Grove is one of our endeavors. We have 5 hives out there. Well, we started the year with a overwintered hive and actually 2, the one by the sap house and the one on the inside were overwintered hives. Sap house did great. she expanded quite a bit. We've battled hive beetles with that one because there is a slight shade there. But they were going into winter pretty strong. We did mite treatments. We did both Formic Pro. I did a spring and a fall one, and then we also did an oxalic acid one. In the inside hive, it did need to be requeened. One of the tricks with that one to be able to keep the queen where, and actually the size of the hives, the queen that was in there they weren't really building well in early spring, and actually they made some queen cells and the queens disappeared. The trick on that one is between the 4 frames on top and the 5 frames at the bottom, there's a queen excluder. So if we have, it's a little bit different management in the sense that if we have a queen, if a queen emerges from a cell, she's not in a position where she can go out and mate. So what we did is actually saw the queen cells, went in, didn't see evidence of a queens, so actually requeened, and she's been doing very well the last time I checked. So they were building and they were happy little campers. Out at the trail hives, we have 3 different styles. We have the Langstroth 8 frame mediums. Then we also have one of the poly hives, and then we also have the top bar hive. And those 3 we added packages to this spring. Top bar, I think, requeened themselves at least once. The other two stayed pretty stable all season as far as we could tell. And I think we marked those queens at one time. I don't mark a lot. They were strong through there. Again, we treated for mites there. The top bar took a little while to get them going, but they seem to be doing okay. We'll see how they make it through the winter, because they did not have a lot of honey. All the other hive, okay, the indoor hive, we do not pull honey from at all. Between the sap house, the poly hive, and the Langstroth on the trail, we pulled off, let's see, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, probably 30, 35 pounds of honey off of it out of those 3. So, and we didn't really pull heavy, so we left quite a bit for their winter. When I get back in California, we'll possibly throw on some food, but didn't add a lot this fall because they had quite a bit of honey.
How much would you say we collected this year from club hives?
Okay, from the 3 that we pulled from, we collected 30 pounds. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 6 5-gallon buckets. Actually, probably, no, I'll say 7 because I had bottled some up. So I'll say 35 pounds would be my guess. And again, I didn't pull heavy.
35 gallons or pounds?
Gallons.
Okay.
Gallons. 7 5-gallon buckets. I'm sorry if I was saying pounds, it's gallons. So 35 gallons. So 35 times 12 is,
Right.
who's my math whiz? 12, 36.
420 or something, right?
Yeah. So, so at least 100 pounds per hive, because we only pulled from the 3. So did very well. Okay, 2 things. They are going to be doing a prairie burn in that area. So it's there's going to be, we're mowing around the hives, and I'm not sure when the prairie burn is supposed to take place. I don't know if it's going to take place this fall or next spring. My guess is next spring in that area. And they at first, the guy who was doing it said, "Oh, you have to move the hives." And I kind of went, no. So I kind of explained the process, and he said, "Well, aren't they going to trouble?" And I said, "No, you just got to mow a big break around them and just kind of, keep an eye on it when you're burning." So it should be okay. The other thing is, one of the things I'm trying to start is what we call a junior beekeeping program. And what I'm kind of following off of is the junior zookeeper program that Miller Park has. So I met with the Miller Park coordinator there and talk with her on how she runs it and things like that. and so I'm doing some research on some grants for suits for the kids. And I may put out a call if anybody has extra suits that they no longer use. I may put a call out for that. Just because trying to get it going. And what my plan is, and I've got a couple people at the Sugar Grove that'll actually help, so they'll become beekeepers and help me mentor the kids. The plan is at this time during ISU break and I think District 87 break, kids would do a 4-day, 3-hour, 5 days, 5 days, 3-hour session. So in other words, they get several hours of classroom style before they actually go to the hives. So when we go to the hives, they'll know what they're doing. So actually, no, I think it's 3 days. Anyhow, there's going to be like a mini class for them to start with, to get their an understanding of the hive. Then when we go out to the hive, we'll start in April and actually go the 2nd and 4th Saturday of the month is the plan to meet there. They'll do a little bit of classroom, and then so it's like they'll come out for 3 hours, do like an hour classroom, then 2 hours in the hive. And if we get to where we've got enough adults supervision that beekeepers, one group can work one hive, one can work another hive, doing the inspections and going through that, and taking them all the way through October to extraction. So if we need to install a package, they'll see how a package is installed. We'll see how, how it goes through the year, and then all the way to the harvesting of it. They would get a smoker, their own hive tool, and a book, just kind of like how we do our typical classes. They would also probably have a t-shirts made up and stuff. So I'm kind of excited about it. It's going to be a learn as I go program. I looked online. There wasn't too many junior beekeeping programs out there, but I thought, and we're looking at, I kind of put a minimum age currently at 12, like 12 upper age limit. I don't really have an age upper age limit, but minimum I'd say is 12. Start getting much younger, it gets a little trickier as far as some of that stuff. So that's kind of my game plan on that. And if anybody's got ideas for me, they're more than welcome to help me with that, or throw things at me and say, hey, you got to try this or that. So
So
that's,
did you think about maybe a grade level rather than an age? So like 6th grade and above or something?
I really didn't go by grade. You could do grades up above, or 5th grade is 10. So, I could do 6th grades, 12. And again, I may look at this first year kind of keeping it there, but as the years progress, then, maybe if they're handling it well, we could go down to, age is a little easier. I think as far as kind of, okay, you're this age or that age. I'd rather stick with the age than the grade myself.
Okay.
Okay. But also the plan is, okay, so the following year, so if I have 10 junior beekeepers, I call them J-Beaks, the J-Beaks go through, then the next year, having them come back as mentors to the next group of newbies. So again, trying to build where they can see it because, as you see, beekeeping goes, it's not a couple days activity, it's a year-round activity. And so this is a way they could, again, getting kids relating to kids. So the older ones, mentoring younger ones in that respect. So the thought is they come back and help mentor. So that's kind of my thought process on this.
All right.
Okay.
Other recap of the year type stuff. Off your head, how many members we have in the actual? group?
Yeah, I think actual paid membership is in the 95 to 100 range would be my guess. Just a reminder, your membership will actually end December 31st. And so, everybody will need to renew. With that membership, you get, you've got the club membership, but then you also have the ISBA membership. We support them. Then we also, that allows you use the club equipment, the extractors. We do have 2 extractors. We've got a radial and we've got a 6-frame radial, and we have a 4-frame tangent extractor. We have, on capping kits. Let's see. Let's see. The library is up and running, thanks to Cynthia. Well, actually, Karen Schmidt and an intern did a great job. They did a lot of work as far as data input, because so each book is is kind of listed within that. And so they did a great job on that. Actually, I just got a call from somebody over in Peoria's HOI's group, and she was asking how we did it. And so I connected, and she's an ex-librarian too, and connecting that to with Karen. And so they are, HOI is, I think, also looking at doing a library over there. And so, so it was, I think, a good job with that. Let's see.
Just
What
a
else?
quick reminder, PK, sorry to break your concentration. How
Nope.
much, and do we mail it to you, correct? We mail the
Correct.
dues to you? Okay.
Yeah, it's $20. It's 20. 10 of it is for ISBA, 10 of it's to the club.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, and I'll be sending stuff out, and you can just send it to me. And I'm okay, okay, I'm gonna embarrass you, Valerie. I had a nice conversation with Valerie's mom. She was looking for some mentoring because Valerie's back at work. But her mom's gonna take the class too. And so I'm assuming, Valerie, you knew that.
Yes. I
Yeah,
encouraged her to, you told her that we could have like a family
yes,
membership,
yes.
and I said, Mom, go ahead and get your own, because that way we don't have to try to split because I get the I think it's every other month or every month I get the ISBA notifications, and then I read
Right.
them, and then
Okay.
maybe I shred them or I use them for my smoker after I'm done with them.
PK,
But anyway, I get them.
Okay, yeah.
quick, update, I went to the ISBA meeting, this November, and they were talking about coming speakers for summer. Sometime mid-July, Cayman Reynolds will be speaking at the summer
Springfield?
meeting. What?
In Springfield, or?
I believe they said that that meeting will be over towards Quincy, I think.
Okay.
And then also for the fall meeting, apparently they lined up Jamie Ellis and Samuel Ramsey for the fall meeting.
Oh, great.
Samuel Ramsey is the guy that did the mite research that determined that they were actually, mites were actually feeding off of the fat bodies. Jamie Ellis is a member of, what is it, University of Florida, is that right, man?
Yes.
And he manages their beekeeping research, or is at least heavily involved in the beekeeping research. He has a podcast called 2 Bees in a Podcast. So
2 bees in a what?
2 Bees in a Podcast.
2 bees in a.
And Jamie is a very good speaker. You know, if you look up on YouTube, you'll be able to see he's somewhat entertaining. You know, even though he's University of Florida, he does a good job of talking bees. So it'd be nice to see people other than just Sharon and I going down to the ISBA meetings.
So they're like this, you know, there's only a few people there, or?
Oh, no,
Oh,
there's there's quite a few people there. There was
Just not from our club.
not from our club.
Okay,
That's-
I get it.
I'm saying,
Uber?
what?
You're gonna be an Uber driver or what?
Well, I mean, if you want to write down, then I can certainly
Comedy.
accommodate that.
Right.
But thanks, PK, for the reminder. I'll be sending in my $25 or $20. I'll encourage my mom to send in hers. And that brings us to another good point is, are we going to be doing in-person, the in-person
Yeah, at this
class,
point,
or are we going to do virtual, or maybe
at
both?
this point in time, it is in person. I had actually I sent out a bunch of stuff to the different extension office, and I was also asked about Zoom. It's a little trickier with Zoom with the class. You just don't get as much out of it. Now, okay, now Valerie, you took the class last year. You can repeat that class for 25.
Okay.
So you can, because as you well know, there's a lot of information that comes in that class, and then all of a sudden just kind of like, okay, I'm learning and stuff like that. If we get, I will put it out there that if people are interested in Zoom, we might try to do it. It's a little, when you see the people on, it's a little easier to learn in person, but we can always try and do a Zoom, because I know your mom was concerned about weather.
Yeah, if I was hoping for a Zoom, I don't want her driving way over there in ice in January by herself.
Right.
So
Right.
if it's in person, then I'll go with her. But my
Oh,
preference
good.
definitely, my preference is definitely for Zoom, just so that
Okay.
she and I are both safe. But that's just two people.
Yeah, no, and it is, and that was one of the challenges we've had, we were in person. We actually started Zoom. Tom Panconen was kind of at a forefront of this, and we were actually doing Zoom, starting a little bit of it before the pandemic even hit, and stuff. And I've done a lot more Zoom. There's a lot of places, like I've been doing a lot of pollinator type Zoom classes, because they're over in Ohio, and I'm not going to drive to Ohio for a class,
No.
for actually just like an hour presentation, so Zoom is a it's nice to have that option. And so we may do that, but learning, getting to talk with people, and even the breaks and social, and kind of like touchy feely of the things is nice too. So we can very strongly look at a Zoom option. It is not ruled out at all.
Okay, thank you.
We hadn't planned on it for say, and that's one of the things the board can just decide. And you're part of that. Will be. Okay, actually, I think you go January 1st, I think. Okay. But yeah, and it is, and there's great things about Zoom, and there's some drawbacks with Zoom. So it's just one of the tools in our tool chest in trying to get information out to beekeepers. Now, one of the things we do need is ideas for what you want to hear, the different programs throughout the year. We have, meetings once a month, and getting those ideas of what you want to hear. We can sometimes, we kind of, brainstorm on those ideas, but I would love more ideas from the members. What do you want to hear? Just like what Steve presented. Great job, Steve. That is kind of, a very unique idea. And we can do, where something says, I want to know more about this, type thing. We are more than welcome to have those ideas and what people want to hear. Whether it's planting, whether it's Sharon did a great job on products from the hive. I wouldn't mind, doing a repeat somewhere down the line from her. So that's my opinion, but I'm one of 7. So.
All right, let's pivot here briefly. Andy, are you ready to talk?
Yeah.
name's Andrew O'Connell. I'll be
Hi,
joining
Andy.
your club shortly. I meant to do this. I'm a sailor. Long story short, I'm also a commercial beekeeper, and I'm the central regional director for the Illinois State Beekeeping Association.
Can you speak up a little bit? It's hard to hear you in the room.
Talking pretty loud. Okay.
Yeah,
See if I
there
can
you go.
adjust the microphone.
All right, good old technology.
Did you adjust my volume, or do I need to do something with my microphone?
I think it might be more with your microphone or getting a little closer to it.
All right.
I could hear the grunt.
Okay. Yeah. Everything's harder when you get up close. So I hope this is better. I assume the microphone. I'm staring at that.
Actually, that's a little worse.
Oh, is that worse? Rats. I have no idea where the microphone would be. Hold on one moment. I'll find my wife. This is her computer. I apologize, but I'll put myself on mute and I'll be back in like 2 minutes.
All right.
She's a state of Illinois. She needs this stuff. So.
I can hear you okay. I can hear you okay, but in the room, it's probably not great, I guess.
So maybe we need to find them.
I don't,
Volume.
Volume.
Oh, PK was coming up across pretty loud and
Oh,
that's okay.
thanks a lot, Tom. So I'm a loudmouth.
Yeah, you're a loudmouth. Yeah. Now I can't hear Izzy much at all, but
Well, it's, when you had to talk over 25 kindergartners in a gym class, you got loud.
yeah.
But I'm a long way away. Okay. Let's see, what else can I add? I'm trying to think of other things that happened with the club.
Well, we had a couple of hands-on sessions. So we had a bee inspector come and do an inspection. We had Tom do a hands-on oxalic treatment, but we had pretty low attendance at both of those.
Yeah, and if you've never heard Arvin from the Springfield area, was the bee inspector. He is, I love listening to him. Has a very different style of beekeeping than Jim does, and he's, and again, he's been, both of them have been at it for a number of years. But it's just like with all beekeepers, we all take a slightly different method, reasoning, and way of doing things. You always, he's really good to listen to. Now, we had a couple of activities up at Hillco. We were there represented at the open house, and then the extraction program that we had up there. It was very nice. One of the ones that was, I thought Sharon's was great as far as the products of the hive. And Izzy, you do a great job on the mead making. How's that mead coming along? So we have to sample it in the future, correct? He may be muted.
Yeah, I'm ready to go ahead and act that to a new container and stabilize it. I don't think I might back sweeten it a little bit, but but it should be.
Yeah, on a flip side, from our couple our hands-on, the mead making one, I think we had probably 30 people out there.
Yeah, and people from Champaign, some from down at Springfield and Peoria. So we had a nice variety. And like I said, Izzy did I like the way you present on the mead program.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, it's and stuff. So yeah, Okay.
Yeah, your
Uh,
presentation is he want us to dip our toes in mead making. We've got a sizer that we're doing right now that seems to taste pretty good. The sizer is an apple mead. We even made a my grandmother's apple cake recipe with the apples after they came out of the sizer. So
Oh.
Yeah, in that on Facebook. How'd that apple cake turn out?
it was tasty. So we enjoyed it.
you're
Good.
saving us a bottle to share, correct?
A bottle of the mead.
Yeah, the apple stuff.
Oh, look at that. Yeah, the apple pie too.
We're, well, we'll have to make another sizer to have enough for,
I don't know, there's only 4 of us here to eat it.
yeah. The thing was we served it to family at Thanksgiving dinner and
And there was none left over.
there was left over to bring the serving to share here, so.
And to be honest, that meat goes pretty quick too. You'll probably find that you move from the 1 gallon containers up to 5 gallon.
Yeah, well, Sharon, being the chemistry person that she is, she, after seeing your presentation, we checked out some online YouTube videos and
Mhm.
took a liking to man-made meat and I think it's BC's doing the most video broadcast. They're very scientific and analytical.
Oh, okay.
And so she sort of took it over on me.
City, I learned how to make mead from City Steading, and they still are on YouTube, and they've made all different types of meads, ciders, spiced, I forget, capsicum ales, um, hydromels. So I'll probably have to dig up some of my photos, but I tried a little bit of everything. This was 3 or 4 years ago. I tried a little bit of everything back then, making my own alcohol, and then I also made a honey beer that actually ended up being a red ale. I was going for a honey wheat, and I had to substitute some things, and it ended up being a red ale. So I say all that to say, City Steading is a really good channel for mead making, and they do make some beer as well.
See a secret side of you, Valerie.
All right, Andy, how we doing there?
Okay, how do I sound now?
Oh,
Better.
much better, yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so well, I think I just got done introducing myself, saying I was a sailor and I'm a commercial beekeeper, which is I should emphasize I'm trying to be a commercial beekeeper. I'm not quite
Alright.
there yet. Anyway,
How do you combine the sailing and the commercial beekeeping? I'm very curious how those two things go together.
yeah, you and everybody else. A quick background on my story. So I was I hold a chief engineer's license, but I sail in normally as first, and I was overseas about 15 years ago, and I met my wife, and decided to go ahead, sir.
He muted.
You muted yourself, we can't hear you anymore. There you go.
I need to unmute this thing. Hold on.
Do it again.
Okay, that should be better because I guess my finger was coming up off of it. I apologize. So, long story short, I met my wife overseas. We came ashore. She started having kids, and that's when I got into bees. It was just a simple hobby thing, and it kind of snowballed. It turned into an addiction, and next thing you know, got like 15, 20 hives. I actually started out as a treatment-free beekeeper, and for about 6 years. But when I tried making honey, I came into the same problem. In order to make a lot of honey, you want big, robust hives. And when you get big, robust hives, you get a lot of mites. And the normal stuff that I do for treatment-free beekeeping just wasn't working. So I had to resort to chemicals. And long story short, I kind of figured it out now, at least for myself. And I got asked to be fill in for a fellow by the name of Brian Miller. He's out in Champaign. I don't know if you guys have met him. He was making the effort to run around to every meeting and introduce himself. And I thought that was a really good idea. So I'm trying to not just introduce myself, but I'm going to join every club I can in the central region that I can get a hold of it. Some of them are actually tough to get a hold of. Yours is actually super easy, and it's awesome because you're on a Tuesday. There's only one other club that has a Tuesday meeting, the last Tuesday of the month, and that's Mississippi Valley Beekeepers Association. And I've already been to 2 of their meetings. So this is the second meeting, I think. I was at your meeting last month as well. I just got off a boat October 17th. And
We also have a Wednesday meeting where we meet at various bars around
yes, the bees
McLean County and share some.
When I was just starting to beekeep, I met Tom Pankinen, and he gave a presentation of slow foods. Gosh, that must have been 10 years ago, and I was just like, wow, how cool is that? Now I was actually on the ship. I was on Lake Superior on my way back, and I called Tom up. I was like, hey, I need a bunch of queens. This trip ran a month over. I need to requeen all my colonies, at least like get rid of all the commercially raised queens from the packages I purchased. And I wanted spares. So he's like, well, how many? Yeah, I said 50. He goes, oh crap, that's like a week away, because I knew I was arriving, and I was just like, well, I need to know if you can do this or not. And he's like, well, let me look at my hives. Well, he waited until Friday. I owe the guy an apology. He waited like 3 days. He called me back Friday. I had already made the purchase. I was rooting around. As soon as I had found someone to sell me the queens, I made the purchase. Feel bad, but oh well. I mean, that's commercial beekeeping for you. So I knew I was coming ashore, and I needed those 50 queens to queen all my stuff. Yeah. But yeah, he's a great guy, and I aspired to be like him actually. but unfortunately, I don't want to. I don't want to do retail like at all. I just no, that's not for me, guys. I'm sorry. I like going to clubs. I like making sure that everybody has access to knowledge, because if you guys are better beekeepers, then it makes beekeeping easier for everyone, including myself.
Good attitude.
Yeah, I just it's a false security to think that I might know something that can't help everyone else. As soon as I learn something, I throw it out there. What I try not to do, though, is if I come across something that's untested or that looks a little shady, like whoa, I don't know about that. But otherwise, I'll bring it to the attention of the clubs and what have you. And I've noticed that you guys are on the ball with the summer meeting in 2023, and I just got a text from Tom Start, and he actually had a request from you guys, and he said, did you guys want to have a booth at the summer meeting in 2023?
Yeah, it's a good question.
So put that on your docket and see if you want to do that. But he's going to invite all the clubs, and I think it's a lovely idea.
Okay, describe what the booth or what or the role would be.
It's whatever you want. You'd have your booth.
Okay.
Introduce yourselves. I'm gonna try and make the in-person meetings. The reason I couldn't make it tonight is my daughter had a introduction for something at her school. I was stuck here. We have 6 children. And the oldest is just turned 14.
Wow.
Yeah, and I leave her alone with all these kids when I go to see it. It's great for me. Must be miserable for her. I don't know what that's like. So, but you know, there you go. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, just just an idea of what kind of things the booth is going to be at spring meeting and stuff like that, or the summer meeting and stuff like that. Do you have a date for that by any chance?
It would be July 14th and July 15th, 2023. It's a
Okay.
two-day meeting. Now, the Tom Stark secured the venue and everything else. I don't even know if, I think it's an invitation to have a booth. I don't think he's going to charge any club. I'm almost positive he's not charging. I haven't asked him that. I should text him right
Okay.
now while I'm talking. And, but yeah, I'm fairly certain that he wants people to come to the meeting because he has Cayman Reynolds coming. He has Corey Stevens. He has two young teenagers that won Beekeeper of the Year or something. He also invited the Missouri and the Iowa State beekeeper associations. This is going to be like a tri-state area because they're at Quincy. So, you know, you're only about 90, 100 miles from Iowa, and I mean, you're right next to Missouri. And yeah, he's going to have a lot of folks there. And he's already secured $18,000 or $20,000 in grants from the city of Quincy to help offset the expenses for the Illinois State Beekeeping Association, who guarantees the costs. So one of the ways the summer meeting works is well, this year it's Central Region, and Tom Stark bucked up and snagged it. And what the ISBA does is said, okay, look, you know, this is what we'll do. We'll make sure you don't lose any money. And yet you got it. You got it, no problem. And he just took off with it. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm watching the blueprint on how to approach summer meetings for the Illinois State Beekeeping Association, which brings me up to some of the things I wanted to mention to you guys. I'm currently representing the Illinois State Beekeeping Association tonight. I'm trying to coordinate knowledge. That's what I view my role as the Central Regional Director. And I realized that I learned a lot from you guys tonight. That was really cool, that Texas presentation. I didn't even know, I had no idea what you were talking about. It's the first time I've ever heard it. I've been into beekeeping for 12 years. I run over 100 colonies, but now I condensed down to 70 because I spent so long at sea this year. I wasn't where I wanted to be, but I'll explode back out to like 250 in the spring. It's beekeeping's weird. The Texas honeydew, that was really cool. I've never heard of that in my 12 years of beekeeping. Never heard of it. So now I'm going to look into it because I had super dark honey, like black honey, and I just had no idea where it came from. In the springtime from one apiary this year. And I wonder if that's what it was. I have no idea. No, it's crazy. It was harvested it. Oh, it would have been from late April, early May near Sangamon River, Camp Silco. It's very east. So I'm from Springfield, Illinois. It's very close to that region, but it's a lot of restoration prairie. It's just very dark, and I didn't care for the honey at all. And the young lady, Valerie, I believe is her name. One of the remunerations for my beekeeping business is mead making. So I've already sent feelers out to the mead makers here in Illinois. Not a single one of them responded for the 2023 meeting. I was really hoping that one of them would give a presentation, but none of them are doing it. And I don't have my mead making license yet, so I'm not comfortable giving a presentation. But I grew a lot. You know, you don't have 6 kids by accident. You gotta make it happen. So the Gosh, the other thing I wanted to talk to you guys about was the ISBA is considering raising dues from $10 to $20. Is there any pushback from you guys for doing that? You think? Yay, nay? And the reason that they're considering doing this is because we would like to get a more steady source of income. This COVID stuff hammered us hard. Over half of our revenue was from the summer fair, and we lost it like 2-3 years now. It's pretty dicey. So we're struggling to make ends meet in that response. But I asked people if there would be any pushback to it, and then they came right back at me and they said, "Well, what is the ISBA doing for us?" Okay, so the ISBA represents the voice of the beekeepers of Illinois. The ISBA is also enticing or trying to coordinate the clubs to stay coordinated. I don't know if that makes sense, but right now I'm trying to get a hold of all the presidents for the central region. And I want to kind of make like a president's group, because that honeydew presentation was so cool. It would have been awesome if other people could have had access to it. That would have been super cool. And a lot of people I've noticed as I've been going around to other clubs here in person. I've been to the Jacksonville, the Champaign, Urbana, the Quincy, one more. It was south of Taylorville. I couldn't get up there tonight. I would have, and I apologize for that. I wanted to be there in person. But anyway, the one thing that I noticed was there was a lot of overlap. A lot of people went to one or more meetings. And I just thought, wow, if we had this stuff on Zoom, you guys are talking about having Zoom. And it occurred to me that the ISBA could actually purchase Zoom as a nonprofit organization and just get the licenses for it. And then you guys could have Zoom. You wouldn't have to pay for it because the ISBA would pay for it. And and now that I just realized that tonight, you guys were having a call about it. And I thought, wow, that could be something the ISBA could do for you guys. But I mean, that's
Would the ISBA be willing to, because we have all of these different associations and not everybody can attend the meetings on whichever given weekday it might be, whenever it occurs. Would the ISBA also be willing to host some of the, maybe you wouldn't keep all of the recordings, but this is being recorded. So would the ISBA be willing to host or at least store some of the recordings from our meetings on Zoom? So if you wanted to go look up at Taylorsville, you could. If you wanted to go look up HOI, you could. If you wanted to go look up Champaign, you could, and see what their presentations are about, see what they are seeing in that um, region of Illinois. Is that something that
yes, that's exactly what
they would be willing to do?
that is exactly what I'm talking about. But more importantly, I also want to get the presidents together because they're the ones that coordinate and drive the clubs, so to speak. PK, she is currently embarking on the Junior Beaks, J Beaks, she calls them. So the Prairie State Beekeepers runs a program like that. Taylorville just started up a program like that. And I can tell you some of the benefits from having these young children. And they go as young as 9 years old. And I think the oldest one they've had at Prairie State Beekeeping Association was 16 or 17. Anyway, the added benefit of having these young kids in these programs, they can graft. So if you are a club and you're running your own hives and you're making your own queens for your club, you can have these kids graft for you because they can see those eggs, or excuse me, they can see those small larvae. And that's amazing. So there's a win-win for you right there. Because I remember when we had the first kid that did that for Prairie State Beekeeper, he grafted 42 queens. And they were gorgeous. They were like inch-long cells out of a monster Michael Palmer cell builder. So it worked out well. There's a lot to be had by sharing knowledge, but absolutely, Valerie, that's what I'm trying to get towards is by having everybody having access to Zoom and recordings and stuff like that. But I just want to reiterate something that being in person is my preference. And I understand that there's folks that can't make it, but that's kind of like the, I don't know how to say it. It's like my last resort. For me, it's my last resort. Other people, I get it, but if I can be there in person, I want to be there in person. Nothing beats that. But I understand your situation. There's a lot of folks that are similar. I
Yeah.
wish I'd seen more of them tonight. I mean, you have Zoom right now. I'm on it. It's great.
Yeah, and again, like we said, it's kind of, there's pros and cons to it. You know, it's, gee, I can sit at home and watch the meeting and not really have to take the time to drive there, you know, saves me time. But then you don't get that face-to-face interaction that, you know, sometimes can trigger some more questions and information and stuff like that.
That's an excellent point. Show and tell is
Yeah.
huge in person. I don't know if you guys have a woodworker in your club,
Oh,
but
there's
those guys are so much fun because they come in with the neatest stuff, and you're like, man, I really want that. You know?
I'm
Stuff
the
they
guy
come up
that makes the award plaques for you guys,
with. Yeah, that's super cool.
so.
We have Bill Budd in Prairie State Beekeeping Association. There's a fellow down in Taylor. I'm trying to remember his name. Can't remember it. He came up with an amazing swarm catcher. He cut. Let's see. Let me see if I can describe this well. Have you guys seen those water jugs at the big box stores that have 4 gallons, 5 gallons, or whatever the gallon rating is for them? They're giant, right? So he inverts it and he sticks it on a pole and he cuts half of the thing off, or the bottle off, I guess. And that's a swarm catcher. He like knocks a swarm off and catches the bees. And he has like a little flip top that folds in on him.
I think I've seen those on Blue Horizon.
Oh, okay.
I've seen those.
I've never seen that before. I was like, that's brilliant. I wish I had come up with something like that. That's awesome. But I mean, I've learned so much from this role of being the Central Region Director that hey, I'm getting the benefit from it. What I'm trying to do now is I'm scrambling to try and figure out how to coordinate everything. I just went to a meeting in I think it was Champaign. Yeah, Champaign. We had Jim. No, uh, James. Oh, Woodward.
Oh,
Jim
Wellwood.
Woodward. Wellwood. Is it
Wellman.
Wellwood? Yeah.
Well,
Phenomenal,
The inspector?
phenomenal
Yeah.
presentation. So the guy comes in, has everything set up, and I'm thinking to myself, why isn't this guy talking to everybody? Yeah, why isn't this president? He literally the name of his presentation was Beginning Beekeeping, and he went through the whole litany of the stuff you're going to meet as a beginning beekeeper. It was great, and I loved it. The only thing he caught me off guard with was something about saying AFB has been found present in like every hive. EFB, yeah, I'm aware of EFB, but AFB I wasn't. And I tried to find secondary sources for that, but I couldn't find them. But I'm not going to argue with it. It needs to be inspector. And I certainly wasn't going to say anything there. I was scratching my head on that. I was like, I don't know about AFB. That's a pretty serious disease. I don't want to see a trace of that in my eye. There's only one way to reconcile AFB. You have to burn everything. And I don't want to burn everything. That's pretty spendy. So anyway, do you guys have any more questions for me? Because I think I gave a pretty good intro for myself. I will be around as often as I can. I'm shipping out probably in about a week. I have no idea where I'll end up. I could be on the Great Lakes. That's where they've been sending me lately. As first engineer on one of the boats up there. I could end up in. There's a job that just popped up down in Antarctica, so I might be going down there. Yeah, but it's only a couple months. I'll be back in spring.
All right, well, thank you, Andy. I don't see any questions here in the room.
All right, awesome. No, thank you for letting me have a moment of your time tonight.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
I'll
Can
make,
you
I'll make a
can you share
comment.
your,
Oh, go ahead, Val.
I was gonna say, can you share your email with PK so she can send it out? Because trust me, I will ask you lots and lots and lots and lots and lots
Oh,
of questions
sure,
and be
sure.
like, and then I might even come up with a few ideas because you were saying, hey, how can the CIBA work for you? And I'm like, oh, I can come up with some ideas for you if you like. Thank you.
That's why I wanted you on the board. One of the things, SBA, with the raising of the dues, you have to do a sales pitch to members as to what they're getting for their value. Because that's one of the things, like you said, you see people say, well, what do I get for it? And that's where, going to meeting and because we did have somebody come, I think last year from ISBA, and that is helpful to members to kind of say, oh, this is what they do, because it's hard for us to explain to them all the things you do.
Yeah. And people, we're in the background and people don't realize how much effort and work goes into setting up these meetings and stuff. But that's not even the biggest benefit of the ISBA. The biggest benefit the biggest benefit of the ISBA has been that Illinois is actually one of the leading states, if not the leading state, for beekeeping. We actually have inspectors.
Yeah.
We are in state law.
Yeah.
Like the Illinois state budget, we're in there. So I mean that's amazing stuff. And now we're not in there anymore. We don't get anything from the budget now. But I mean, once upon a time, we were part of the budget of Illinois, which is super cool. I don't know if anybody would fight on that now, but that certainly made things easier. I had somebody brought up a suggestion about license plates. I thought it was brilliant. So we did all this research and spent a couple hours at it, and then we found out that yeah, you could do it, but it's a plain license plate with a sticker now.
Yeah.
Who wants a sticker? Yeah. I want the cool license plate with the bees.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
Okay. Yeah. One of the things that I know our club takes advantage of is the insurance program.
Yep. Yeah, that's a big one. Whenever you hold a get together, you just write it off. There you go. But I'm thinking more the value of what Valerie alluded to was the recording of the general information board almost. I don't know how we'd set that up. I'm struggling to figure that out in my head. But I might get back with Mrs. Ross or Miss Ross.
Miss Ross, but Valerie's fine.
all right. Yeah. So I mean, and it's things like this, brainstorming and trying to figure stuff out that hopefully will make this organization and clubs better. And like I said, I've already learned about the honeydew melon. You got J Beaks going on. You have club hives. How cool is that? So, do you guys like rob queens from the club hives when stuff goes sideways for your members?
Haven't in the past.
We have talked about that. At this point in time, we've got a few people who are queen raisers. So, yeah, it's there is some talk. There's ideas floating out there as far as selling the bees and stuff like that, but that gets a little bit different. I kind of use the club hives more as educational based, so inviting people, invite them out for inspections, how what we see, how various ways of doing things. Like I said, we've got a top bar hive, which is that's a tough management, the indoor hive, and all the different things that
it's really cool.
Variety and stuff. So
yeah, so you're the only club that I have heard of having literal club hives.
Yeah.
I just think that's super cool.
Yeah, it's
What a
in,
great idea.
yeah, and have it, what we do is, and you may not be familiar where we have it, it's called Sugar Grove Nature Center. So we've got a place that can, people can come and I can invite them to join us. And it's also a place where other people hike on trails and stuff. So they kind of see the hives and stuff. So again, the primary purpose is more educational based. And it's going to take somebody who, Izzy and I, are the ones that typically are out there, but, getting people out to just, see it. Like we did a 4-H group. We had invited a 4-H group. So I did a presentation in the classroom and then, rounded up some suits and took them out to the hives so the kids could actually see the bees. Cause it's intimidating kind of until they kind of like, get a suit on and look at it. So that's what we try to encourage with those hives.
So the closest thing that I can think to what you guys are doing is that there's a nonprofit organization here in Springfield, the Lincoln Land Alumni Foundation. So the folks that graduated from the Lincoln Land Beekeeping, or excuse me, the Lincoln Land Community College, they coordinate with the Lincoln Land Beekeeping Association. There's two organizations here. So Lincoln Land Beekeeping is Fred Gerberding, and they spearheaded 10 hives for the college, and it's kind of snowballing. So what those folks are doing, and this Dave Cox is the guy that runs it out there, and I'm friends with him. Our sons play soccer together. That's how I found out about it. So hey, there you go. He does very much the same thing you're doing, but what he does is since he's an actual college and the bees are on his college and everything's like college oriented or whatever, he actually has elementary schools coordinating with him for next spring to come out and introduce the kids to the bees, which is what you guys are doing now or have been doing. They're just starting that program now.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, our origin as far as a club was with Illinois State University. One of the college professors was a beekeeper, and he started doing classes, and the hives belonged to the club, but couldn't put them on the university property. So they actually went to members, and we kind of, when we switched over more to a community-based club, because one of our challenges with being a university club is getting college students, because you get college students, but then they graduate, and then you've got to get more involved with it in that. So that's how we became more of a community-based, a little bit more open. But we do also work with a little bit with Illinois Wesleyan. I believe they do have a hive or two on campus that we're working with.
awesome. Hey, it's better than what you're the only club that's doing it. So because even Lincoln Land Beekeepers, they're not doing it. They were asked to mentor the foundation. You're the only club that's doing it. That's just you're doing it. So I mean, you could provide a not a how-to, but rather a template.
A blueprint. Yeah.
All right, a blueprint. Thank you.
Yeah.
But I mean, it exists.
Yes. Oh, yes. And you just have to. It's kind of, you got to have somebody who's can, we go out there. Izzy's been a great help. And I bounce ideas off him, because Izzy got real used to me out there. It's kind of like, okay, I see this. Okay, I'm thinking about doing this, thinking about doing that. And so I've got a brain. We're brainstorming as we go through. And because there are different perspectives, and the girls don't always read the same books we do.
Yeah, I know.
So yeah. Okay.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I mean, like I said, I've learned a tremendous amount. So I'm going to send additional info. What info did you want?
Well, you were talking about information about a booth at the summer meeting.
Booth. Okay.
No,
Can do.
No, if you had any additional information about that, I'm also currently the president of FIBA. So you've got our president information there now.
All right.
Okay, I would take information on the other people who are doing the junior beekeeping programs.
The other people?
You,
Oh,
you,
you mean from the Perry State Beekeeping? Yes, I'll have
Yes.
Dave give you, yes.
uh,
Yep,
share
his
his
name is Dave
information.
Cheever. I don't know if you've ever met him.
Nope.
Okay, long story short, he just retired last year. And he said he was gonna have all this time to beekeep, and he's more busy than ever, so,
Oh yeah, funny
Yeah.
thing how retirement does that.
right. And, I will get you in touch with him. Is it PK or is that how you
PK.
go by? All right.
It's Patty Crana, but I go by PK. A lot of people know
Alright.
me as that.
No problem. And, yeah. Looking for your. Is it on your website?
Yep. The treasurer.
Yeah, she's our treasurer. Her information's on our
Okay.
FIBA website and Facebook page.
Right on, right on. Yeah, I will.
Patty Caranda. PK.
Ah, right there. PJ@gmail.com. No problem. All right, so yes, I will get you in touch with Dave Teeberg. So he runs he's the vice president of the Prairie State Beekeeping Association.
Okay.
And I believe he's most definitely he's in charge of the, what do they call it? The Beekeeping Scholarship Program.
Yeah.
And they've been doing something very similar. Well, I should say that's actually my company, but he runs it, and we also run a queen ring program, but the big beekeepers, we donate our hives to run cell builders for the club, and then the club gets the cells and they'll mate them or whatever. The benefit of running a queen ring program for a club, it was unforeseen, but it makes a massive difference for folks when they raise their own queen. When I say raise their own queen, when they take it from a cell and they put it in a nucleus colony, and then they watch that queen go out and mate, come back and start laying, and they watch that process, and then they learn how to handle a queen, and they lose that fear of touching her. That's pretty big. And then they learn how to mark her. Wow. That's huge for a lot of beekeepers. And we didn't realize it at the time, but a lot of folks are very appreciative of that. And, it's nice having queens laying around, because that's what ended up happening. Now everybody in our club runs nukes. We focus on the Michael Palmer nukes. I'm not sure if you're familiar with them. They're the 4-frame high bodies. They're deeps, but they sit on a 10-frame board, and they're split in the middle. So you get 2 colonies in one 10-frame footprint. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, it's worked out well for Prairie State Beekeeping Association. I think Taylorville does it, and I believe Apple Creek, Jacksonville, and Quincy does it. Or they have similar programs, but it might just be run by their members, but they donate their leftover queens to the club. No, I'm not entirely sure. What the Prairie State Beekeeping Association does is, I know this for a fact, they sell their queens to the club for $10 a piece. And these queens are cells. And the cells are guaranteed. So if the cell fails to emerge, the queen doesn't come back, whatever, you get a new cell free. And they have it on the schedule, and it works out very well, because nobody really feels out, because the $10 goes to the education fund for the scholarships for the kids. So it's a win-win all the way around.
Okay. Okay.
And the kids are the ones that grab, because they can actually see the larvae. That's a true story right there. Those kids grab better than I only dropped around 75%.
Yeah.
It's only getting worse.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and I will get you in touch with them.
All right, sounds good. Do we have any other business for tonight?
I don't.
Okay, then I think we'll wrap a little bit early. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Steve. That was a great presentation and filled up a lot of time. And thanks for the taste test. Another benefit of being hands-on is you get to taste the honey.
Okay.
All right. We don't
Thanks, Tom, for
typically
running
have
it.
Yeah, we don't typically have a meeting in December because of all the holiday type stuff. So we'll send information out about our January events soon. And we do have our Beekeeping 101 class, January 28th. There should be information out on our Facebook page, website about that as well. All right,
What was your question about Ross Round?
are you familiar with that?
No.
Oh, okay. I was just playing off your last name and Ross Rounds. Those are like round inserts that get put into frames, so you can do honeycomb
Oh,
or comb honey.
okay.
Yeah.
I was just like, what's he talking about? Like, no, I don't have an in. Maybe I should. Maybe I should. My family secretly makes them up.
Yeah, could be.
But I am doing a little bit of research about a different type of hive from Japan, and I'm as long as my neighbor who has a wood shop in his garage, as long as he's able to give me use of his wood shop, I'm going to try to build one and build that new. It's called uh, pin box. Um, pin box hive from Japan, and it's made primarily for Japanese bees, which I didn't know are distinct from bees that we have here, either European bees or bees that we usually have here in America. So it's going to be an experiment this springtime. Hopefully, I'll be able to split my hives and split my hive and split my mom's hive and try something out. But anyway, I thought I was like, maybe he's referring to that, but I was like, I don't remember talking to anybody about that. But
But I would request that you take a bunch of pictures while you're doing that, because that sounds like an interesting presentation for one of our club meetings.
oh, cool! I hadn't even thought that. Yeah, I will. I will definitely take some pictures. Yeah.
All righty.
Okay.
Okay, well, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My gavel.
Okay. Bye-bye.
See y'all in January.
All right, do I just leave the meeting? That ends the